Hi guys, today I'm going to show you guys how I conceal my under eyes. I feel like in this lighting right now you can't tell how hollow my under eyes really are. Maybe if I kind of get up closer, but they're pretty hollow. Under the bright light they look a lot better than they do like in normal lighting. There is some hollowness under there. I have kind of darker circles. For a long time this has been like a big insecurity of mine, and I have really worked to kind of perfect how to conceal your under eyes when they are more hollow, when they're a little bit darker. I really have been looking into doing something about my under eyes since I was very young. I have kind of gone through every video on YouTube and then realized, oh, this is doing too much for me. Oh, this is not doing enough to cover my eyes. And this is the routine right now that I do to make sure my eyes look really even, that there's not hollowness. So I'm excited to show this to you guys, but we are gonna go ahead and get started, and I'm gonna show you guys how I conceal my under eyes. Already done my eye makeup obviously, so I'm gonna go ahead and pin my hair back. Okay guys, so I'm gonna start out with prepping my skin. I've already done my skincare routine and everything like that, but I want to make sure I'm very hydrated before we do any product, because we are gonna use a few different powders to really get this look perfected. So I want to make sure that my skin looks really hydrated. That is going to help prevent cakiness, it's going to help prevent creasing, all of that. So I'm priming right now with the, sorry I didn't show you guys, this is Glossy Touch in Sol Pretty Filter Glassy Skin Balm. So it's just like a moisturizer basically is what it feels like, but I just use it as a little primer. So we're gonna want to let this kind of soak into your skin, because I don't want it to be so fresh that it moves my makeup around. So I'm just gonna let this kind of sit for like 1 minute. Okay, start with your base product. It can be whatever product you're most comfortable with. I use the Glossier Skin Tint because I really like a lightweight coverage over my whole face, because I know I'm gonna go so heavy with the concealer under my eyes. I don't really want to do full coverage everywhere, especially because I just think it makes your skin look a little bit better to kind of balance your products with a natural product and then kind of conceal where you most need it. I'm just blending this in. It's really just a skin tint, and it just helps all your other product blend together a little better. Really just use the face product you're most comfortable with, the one that you like the best for your skin. First step is done. Now it's time to get into concealing. I am going to use 3 different concealers, which is crazy. You can condense this how you feel it is best for your under eyes and for what you need to do. I use 3 just because this is like what I'll do when I'm doing the most to conceal my under eyes. It's not a daily thing for me. Sometimes I'll use 2, sometimes I'll just use 1 of these. But for this purpose, to really conceal hollow under eyes, I use 3 concealers. I'm going to start with a combination of these NARS concealers. I'm going to use a combo of Cafe Con Leche, which is this little bit more yellow, darker one. It is light 2.6, and then I use light 2.3 in the shade Madeline, and it's more like a pinky kind of concealer. So I start with my NARS Cafe Con Leche, and you can see that this one is a little bit darker, a little bit closer to my actual skin tone. So I just start out with a couple dots, and you're gonna want to put this in the hollows of your under eyes. The hollowness in my eyes, you can see it's like really right here where it kind of drops off and they get more sunken in. And that's really the part that I'm trying to kind of blend into the rest of my skin. So I'm using this concealer that's closer to my skin tone to blend in my under eye area to the rest of my skin. I'll use something that is a little bit darker, and we'll go in with a highlighting concealer next. Then I'm going to go in with the Madeline NARS concealer, a little bit lighter, and I'm going to focus this in between these dots. And I just feel like this is a really good color for me, the combo of these two. So we're going to let this sit for just a few minutes. And next I'm going to use a brush to blend this out. I do use a sponge next, but I'm going to use a brush right now because I feel like that really helps lock in the color where you want it to be. And since we kind of meticulously placed these concealers like this, I want to make sure that they're blended in that exact spot. So I'm going to take this Real Techniques, this is a setting brush. I'm just going to start lightly tapping out the concealer. And this helps the concealer not move around too much. It really just starts covering up right away and getting rid of that hollow spot that I have right there. And I'm just tapping this concealer out. For the edges, I'll just kind of lightly pull to blend out that concealer. Already we have so much of a difference You can still see a little bit of hollowness, but this combo really, really helps color correct your under eyes. Same thing on this side. Okay, first layer is done. Now I'm going to use my Makeup Forever Ultra HD Concealer in the shade 21 for highlighting. And I'm going to place this right in the center under my eye to highlight. I don't want to put this brightening concealer all the way up into this crease. I feel like that just does a little too much, but this kind of helps brighten the center of my face where we kind of want to draw the most attention. I feel like that's better for contouring and your shadows, is to put the highlighting concealer right in the middle and not really bring it up into the hollows of your under eyes. I'm gonna leave this like this for a few minutes while I wet my sponge. I have to clean this sponge actually. So I'm gonna go clean this sponge and let this concealer set into my face. Okay, I just took like 5 minutes cleaning my sponge and letting this concealer sit, so I think we're good. I'm gonna start with the brush again and blend this out. And then I'm just gonna go in with the sponge to kind of smooth everything over. But I really like how this just brightens up right under my eye, and it really helps to highlight the center of your face. Taking the excess concealer around my nose, because that's where I get a little red. And now I'm just taking my sponge and blending this out. Ooh, and it looks so even already. Alright, so if you thought that that was a lot of steps for concealer, it's about to get really crazy with the powders. So I'm not even going to tell you guys how many I'm going to use, I'm just going to show you. So first thing I'm going to do is start with the Glossier Wowder in shade G8 to G10. It's lighter than my skin tone, and that's important for your first step with powder, because if you use something that's too close to your skin tone or even your exact match, then it's going to darken under your eyes once you press it in. I've just personally found that with translucent powders, even if they are translucent, or if it's a loose powder that is your skin color, you press it in under your eye, it always darkens. So I'm going to start out with the Glossier translucent powder. I'm going to reblend my under eyes. I'm going to use this brush to press in the powder. It's a really good shape. It's like a large pencil brush, which is perfect for under the eye. And I'm just like pressing into the net of this powder, dusting off some excess. And then I'm just going to press it lightly under my eye. So this powder is just to really set the makeup that we just placed, not any color correction. It's just making sure that this base is gonna last. And I just bring this kind of around onto my face. I'm actually just gonna use a fluffy brush really quick to set the rest of my face with this powder. Okay, step number 2 for powder. I'm gonna use these Kylie Cosmetic loose powders. I'm gonna use the shade Beige and Soft Pink. And for this step, I'm going to mix together these two powders and press it under my eye. So you start out with the beige powder, and what I do is take my sponge we just used, and I just dip into the yellow powder, and then I'll go over to my pink powder, and I'll dip that same side into the pink powder, and then I'll just pick up one of the lids and just kind of press into the lid to get the excess off. And now we have this. And this I'm just going to take under my eye and press really lightly over my whole eye. I find that this combo really helps brighten and color correct. I feel like, can you guys tell the difference between these two eyes already? It really, really helps reflect light and conceal your under eyes. And then same thing for the other eye. I've tried using these colors on their own separately and layering them, but I really find that they work the best when you use them together at the same time, just because they just balance each other out really well. And bring this powder around. We are almost done, not quite there yet. Right now I'm feeling like, okay, there's a lot of powder under my eyes, there's a whole lot of product, so I want to refresh my skin before I do my last step to set my under eyes. I'm going to take this Makeup Forever Mist and Fix setting spray, and this is going to help just refresh my skin before I do my very last step to conceal my under eyes. Hopefully you can see how that is just melting the powder under my eyes together. It looks splotchy right now, but once everything sets in, it looks really, really even. Okay, so we've let the setting spray set into your skin, and now it's time for the last step. This is what I really think is gonna make such a big difference, and I feel like sometimes I look at it on camera and it doesn't translate as well, but when you take pictures of yourself or just in real life, this makes the biggest difference. This is the Your Perfect pressed perfecting powder from Kylie, and it is the best thing for your under eyes to really correct them. It's like a transforming powder. This tint is kind of like a good in between, like yellow, peachy, has a little bit of like sparkle in it, which I'm hesitant to even say because I don't want that to scare you off from using it under your eyes. It's not anything like a highlight sparkle. It's really super subtle. So what I'm gonna do is take the brush that I use to blend out my concealers, this setting brush, and I'm just cleaning it off on a towel to get the excess makeup off of it because I don't want any liquid or residue on this brush when I use the powder. Okay, so I've cleaned that off, and now I'm gonna go into the powder and I just kind of like rub into it. And this I place directly into the very most hollows of my under eye. So you press it into the very most hollows of your under eye. And I really think that that makes such a huge difference. I really hope you guys can tell on camera. Maybe it's too bright. But the difference between the hollowness in this under eye right here and then how smooth this one looks with the perfecting powder, I really feel like makes such a big difference. I'm just gonna go ahead and apply it zoomed in like this with the light low. This powder like cancels all shadows. And I'll use this too around my nose. Get rid of a little bit of discoloring around my nose, and then just blend this together, blend it up into my cheekbones. I'm gonna go ahead and finish my makeup look, and then I'll show you guys the finished product with my under eye steps and with the rest of my face done. Okay guys, this is the final look with all the rest of my makeup on and with my under eyes completely done. I just wanted to show you guys how everything looks blended together because I know that kind of after you go through all your steps, it's like, how can you even add more makeup on? You're gonna look crazy. Hopefully I don't look crazy to you guys and like I have a ton of makeup on. I feel like I've really tried to get this look down to a science to make sure that my under eyes look smooth, without looking cakey, without looking heavy, and that the rest of my makeup can kind of look not natural, but like not heavy, you know what I mean? So yeah, this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed it and got some useful tips from this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you on my next one. Bye!